Imagine being in a world where sleep, the one sanctuary from the chaos of life, becomes your greatest enemy. That's the curse faced by unfortunate teenagers of Springwood. In the dead of night, when the world is still and your eyelid grows heavily, a monstrous figure lurks within your dreams, ready to turn your slumber into a grotesque fight for survival. This is the essence of Freddy Krueger. Dreams are not safe anymore. I would be thankful if you subscribe, preferably to my channel. Not only do you make my day, but you also know when the next video arrives, so you can have another cozy moment very soon. Freddy Krueger, before becoming the demonic entity that haunts dreams, was a man born to a woman named Amanda Krueger. She was a nun who worked within an asylum. Freddy's early life was already marked by horror. His mother, trapped inside the asylum over a holiday weekend, was assaulted by the inmates, and Freddy was the product of that nightmare. As a result, Freddy grew up in a foster care and developed an intense resentment towards the world, shaped by cruelty and darkness from the start. As an adult, Freddy became infamous in the town of Springwood. He was a sadistic child murderer, preying on the town's children with an unstoppable thirst for blood. The police eventually captured him, but due to a technicality in missing a search warrant, he walked free, evading the justice that he so deserved. This is where the story takes a grim and fiery turn. Enraged, the parents of Springwood decided to take matters into their own hands. In the dead of night, they cornered Freddy in his lair, an old boiler room where he committed the unspeakable crimes. Armed with gasoline and fire, they burned Freddy alive. A vigilant act to rid the world of evil, or so they thought. In most horror tales, the death of the monster means the end of a nightmare. But Freddy Krueger does not obey the law of the living. After his death, Freddy may deal with dark demonic forces, granting him power over dreams. No longer confined to the physical world, Freddy could now haunt his victims where they were most vulnerable, within their sleep. Imagine this. The boundary between reality and dreams starts to blur, and you fall asleep, expecting the safety of slumber, only to find yourself haunted. Freddy, with his signature burnt face and glove armed with razor-sharp knives, stalks his prey. The scratches of his glove against metal become the harbinger of death. His laughter, a cruel melody, taunts his victim. And no matter how fast you run, he's always one step ahead. In your dream world, Freddy is God. What makes Freddy truly terrifying is that his power isn't bound by logic or physical constraints. In your dreams, reality twists and warps to Freddy's will. Walls can melt, familiar places turn into mazes, and the law of physics do no longer apply. It's not just a matter of avoiding Freddy's bladed glove. Your own mind becomes a trap. And as we all know, dreams are deeply personal, filled with our most intimate fears and loved memories. Freddy exploits this. If you are afraid of drowning, Freddy will pull you into a bottomless pool. If you fear fire, he will burn you alive. over and over again with no escape. Every kill that he does is a reflection of the victim's deepest terrors. But here's the worst part. If Freddy kills you within your dream, you will die for real. The line between the dream world and the walking world is erased, and the consequences are fatal. There is no waking up in a cold sweat or a sign of relief. Freddy takes what you love the most, your life, and does it in the most horrifying way possible. And all that through your own mind. What sets A Nightmare on Elm Street apart from other slasher films is the psychological warfare that Freddy wages. Unlike many horror icons, Freddy does not just kill, he toys with his victims, both mentally and emotionally. He breaks them down, he mocks them, twists their reality, and drags them through nightmare after nightmare before finally dealing the killing blow. The teenagers of Springwood soon realize that they cannot avoid Freddy by simply locking their doors or running away. The only way to fight back is actually to stay awake. But how long can a person go without sleep? Days turns into hazy blur, and even the strongest mind break down under the weight of exhaustion. Eventually, everyone must sleep, and Freddy will be waiting. This battle of endurance becomes the central to the series. Can you outlast your own need for rest? What makes Freddy Krueger even more unsettling is his morbid sense of humor. He is not the silent, stalking killer like Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers. Freddy taunts his victims, laughing at their terrors and turning their final moments into cruel jokes. His kills are often absurd, surreal and grotesque, but they're always deeply personal. In one iconic moment, Freddy transforms his victim's body into a puppet, controlling them with tendons pulled from their wrists like strings. In another, he turns a bed into a deadly pit, swallowing Johnny Depp whole in a geyser of blood. Each death is unique, but all share Freddy's twisted brand of dark humor. While Freddy Krueger is the monster on the surface, A Nightmare on Elm Street uses him as a symbol of generational guilt and the trauma passed down from one generation to the next. The parents of Springwood thought that they could bury the evil by killing Freddy, but in doing so, they unleashed a force they could not control. Their children paid the price for the sins of their parents, haunted by the very evil their parents sought to destroy. Freddy is more than just a villain. He is the manifestation of unresolved trauma, guilt, and fear. He is the punishment for secrets swept under the rug, for the darkness that festers when ignored. It's no accident that Freddy's victims are teenagers, caught in the transition between childhood innocence and adult responsibility. They are the ones forced to confront the nightmares that their parents created. What makes Nightmare on Elm Street chilling is the constant and unrelenting tension between reality and the dream world. As the movie progresses, even the audience become unsure what's real. Is it a dream, or have they finally escaped Freddy's grasp? And the most terrifying twist of all comes later in the movies, when you realize that Freddy's power isn't confined within the dream world. Even when the characters think that they are awake, Freddy finds a way to manipulate reality, reminding us that nowhere is safe. The line between walking life and nightmares is so thin that it breaks. You're never truly awake anymore. And Freddy is always waiting. In the end, A Nightmare on Elm Street isn't just a story about a dream killer. It's about the terror of being powerless in the face of an unstoppable force. It's about the vulnerability of sleep when our mind becomes our greatest enemies, where sleep that should be your relaxation is instead your enemy. Freddy Krueger is a monster of the mind, and as long as you dream, there is no escaping him. And I see you again.